think the creative genius to come up with a product is in every single one of us. And it's having the courage to sort of see that idea. I'm Stephanie Hughes, and the Whisper Diaper Pail was my idea. And then I got sick. And then I was diagnosed with cancer in May 2010, and went through surgery and chemotherapy, and it was, it was pretty rough. It was a really rough period of time through the summer. I was chemo and was really depressed, and I work at a university, and they had given me some time off to sort of recover, and I was feeling really down and depressed. And I remember thinking, I was up in my home in Michigan, and I had to write a check for someone to come seal our log cabin. And it was like a $7,000 check. And I thought, I'm writing these checks, I'm putting down payments on everyone else. It's time that I make a down payment on myself. And I decided I'm gonna find someone who can help me take this idea that I've had for a long time and see if I can turn it into something worthwhile. And I'm going to write that check on myself. And even if it never materializes into anything, it's going to get me over the hurdle. It's going to get me through this set of circumstances. I've had this idea for a long time. I'd had it for a long time before I actually sort of really did anything about it. And it really was born out of a need to address essentially a lot of pet waste that I was accumulating. I have a lot of animals, and I lived in a dense urban sort of setting, and I needed a place to store waste until it could be picked up. And so I thought, well, surely I'll be able to buy something that will address this sort of issue. And so I went searching in stores and online, couldn't find anything. Reached out to a gentleman who had come and given a presentation at the university, and he had a lot of patents, a lot of experience in that area, and I did not know him. And I went back. It was probably a year and a half prior to that. I found his contact information. I reached out to him. He owned a company, a chemical company in northern Kentucky, and so I called him up. I did a little bit of research before calling him up, just to find out, is he still in business, that sort of stuff. But I really didn't know what he did. I just knew he had a lot of patents to his name. And I called him up, reintroduced myself, explained a little bit about what I was trying to do, and then asked him if he would be able to just give me some general direction. I wasn't asking him for, to help me in any other way except, one, is this a patentable idea? Tell me that. And two, direct me where I need to go to sort of pursue this, because I was doing it, I was committed to it, I'd already carved out the money, I was, no matter what, this was gonna happen. And when he said, well, tell me a little bit more about the idea, and so I started sharing with him, it's this container to control odor, and it's to seal it in, and I know if I have this issue, other folks must have this issue. And he nearly fell over himself when he heard what I was describing, and he said, we need to meet right away. And I was like, okay, but you don't need to do that. I really just need some direction, if you can give me some advice as to where to go. And he's like, no, we really need to meet right away. In fact, can you meet tomorrow? And at the time when I called him, I really hadn't been going out to see anyone because I had lost my hair, going through chemo. I looked horrible, I felt terrible. And at first I was thinking, I can't go meet this guy. I look terrible. And he's like, we need to meet. And I'm like, okay, but I need to warn you before we meet, because I don't look like I used to look, and I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. So I just want you to know, and if you're uncomfortable, then, and he's like, no, he's like, let's meet.